When prices rise, I like to make one good roast and stretch it all week, turning it into entirely different meals so it never feels like leftovers. This is how I make 5 unique dinners from one 5-pound pork roast. The goal is simple: cook items in large batches, eat well all week, and stretch every dollar without sacrificing nutrition or flavor. I started simple: a seared roast, seasoned simply, and braised slowly in beer. I've used wine or orange juice in the past, whatever I have on hand. Half the secret is in how you cook it, the other half is in saving what you don't use right away. I rendered the trimmed fat low and slow for a clean lard that's better than anything store-bought. The crispy bits, cracklings, got seasoned and finished over the grill's flames for an incredible snack or topping. Nothing wasted. I seared the cut-up pork in my cast-iron Dutch oven and a bottle of beer, keeping part of it plain for my husband, who likes things a bit milder. After a couple hours at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, I added my smoked seasoning and herb salt, as well as onions, garlic, then slow roasted it until it was fork tender, about 4 to 5 hours total. Served with roasted potatoes and sweet carrots, finished with fresh herbs, all from the garden. There was even extra stock left, which I cooled down quickly outside and then transferred to the fridge. When you cook once and plan ahead, you don't just stretch a meal, you stretch your peace of mind. I've been looking forward to my first batch of homegrown black beans, and they did not disappoint. I cooked them in the Instant Pot, lightly salted and simmered until tender. You could definitely season them up, but I wanted the beans to shine through. I love their flavor. The fragrant basmati rice was toasted first in a little olive oil before cooking. Toasting adds depth and keeps every grain fluffy. Now honestly, I don't rinse my rice. Toasting gives the same clean finish and even better flavor. Brought to a boil, then simmered 10 to 15 minutes and left to steam. Perfect texture that stays hot for hours. I batch cooked plenty of beans and rice and froze single portions flat in freezer bags. An easy way to turn economical ingredients into future convenience my future self will thank me for. The pork I reheated low and slow on the grill, letting it caramelize in a cast iron skillet. Smothered in my homemade smoked barbecue sauce, smoky, tangy, and just sweet enough. Simple ingredients stretched intentionally with flavor that holds its own. Total cost under $3 a serving, and more leftovers for lunch the next day. Real food, real flavor, zero waste. Meal 3 was a hearty Mediterranean-inspired pork and chickpea stew filled with garden vegetables, sorghum, and warming spices. I batch cooked the sorghum first, seasoned with salt. Its texture is somewhere between pearl couscous and barley, chewy and flavorful. Some went into the freezer and the rest into dinner. Then I soaked and cooked chickpeas, another batch to freeze for later. Then I sautéed onions, peppers, carrots, celery, tomatoes, and garlic from the garden in the rendered lard from that first meal. Once fragrant, I bloomed sumac, Aleppo pepper, my garden herb blend, and a pinch of homemade herb salt before adding rich pork stock from the same roast. When the vegetables were tender, I stirred in a cup each of sorghum and chickpeas, as well as chunks of leftover pork. While it simmered, I made a cold salad of chickpeas and sorghum, cucumber, Tiny Tim tomatoes, red onions, and fresh herbs, all tossed in my homemade Greek dressing. And I grilled a few slices of sourdough brushed with olive oil. The contrast of the hot, spicy stew and cool, tangy salad was everything I love about cooking this way. Intentional, nourishing, and grounded in what's already here, all for around $2 to $3 per serving. Meal 4 was a garden-fresh taco salad featuring crisp leaf lettuce I'd harvested from the grow room and soaked in ice water. The pork was reheated with a touch of smoky seasoning and herb salt, and then layered over greens with a dollop of Greek yogurt, white cheddar, fresh garden salsa, and a few spoonfuls of preserved salsa verde from last year, and crunchy tortilla chips for scooping. Indulgent without being heavy, proof that even a salad can feel like comfort food. For the last of the pork, I made a simple naan pizza. I spread my homemade smoked pizza sauce, so unbelievably flavorful, you have to try this. I then topped it with mozzarella, the final bits of pork, fermented and fresh peppers, and onions. Another handful of mozzarella, then those spicy cracklings from the first meal scattered on top. I baked it until bubbling and crisp and turned the week's last scraps into something that felt brand new. 5 meals, 1 roast, and nothing wasted, plus extra sides stocked in the freezer, stretching ingredients, time, and creativity. Cooking this way reminds me that when we slow down, cook with intention, and use what we already have, the simplest ingredients become abundance.